Are you ready for the real talk? No sugarcoating, no comforting lies, just raw, unfiltered truth. And yes, this is going to sting, but trust me, it's exactly what you need to hear. Let me be clear, only we, the powerful Stoic Habits community, have the guts to tell you the truth that others are too scared to say. We're not here to feed you a fantasy. We're here to wake you up. And still, if you don't hit that like button under this video, then you're not just ignoring us, you're ignoring your own reality. What we're about to share will challenge everything you've been conditioned to believe about love, silence, and your worth. This isn't just another self-help pep talk. This is a wake-up call. Ready? Let's get into it. Remember those times when they ignored your texts, took days or even weeks to respond? The endless waiting, the anxiety eating away at your mind, wondering what you did wrong. Remember when they ghosted you, leaving you in the dark without closure or explanation? That wasn't an accident. It wasn't a slip-up or bad timing. They were sending you a message, loud and clear. You are not a priority. They didn't care then, and they don't care now. They already have a life they enjoy, a life that doesn't include you. And here's the hardest part. You're scared they'll forget you, aren't you? That they'll move on, and you'll become nothing but a distant memory. But here's the brutal truth. They didn't forget you. They chose to live without you. Let that sink in. They're out there thriving, living their best life, while you're stuck imagining it's all some mask they wear, a carefully crafted filter for the world to see. But tell me this, why would they need a mask for you? They've already been clear, you don't matter to them. They've shown you exactly where you stand, nowhere. And now, here you are, still holding on, thinking, maybe if I go silent, maybe they'll notice, maybe they'll miss me. Wake up. Silence only works if there's something in their heart for you. And here's the hardest pill to swallow. There isn't. Not a shred. Not a spark. Society tells you that if you go silent, they'll miss you. That they'll suddenly feel the void you left behind, realize what they've lost, and come running back. But here's what society doesn't tell you. They were living without you long before you even realized it. Your silence. It's not shaking their world. It's not making them miss you. The only person suffering in this silence is you. Let me tell you this. Silence is not a weapon. Stop using silence as a way to manipulate their emotions. Stop expecting your absence to be louder than their indifference. Use silence for yourself. Let silence be your shield. Because true power isn't about making them feel anything. It's about making you feel whole again. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your silence should be about self-respect, about reclaiming your dignity, not about playing mind games. You don't need them to miss you. You need to miss yourself, the version of you that didn't depend on anyone else's validation. And you know what happens when you let go. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're holding onto a rope, pulling with all your strength, while the other person isn't even holding the other end. You're gripping, straining, trying to force them to care, while they're not even in the game anymore. You're hurting yourself, exhausting yourself, and yet they're out there, living their life. The rope you're holding onto is only dragging you down. And when you finally let go, when you stop fighting for something that isn't meant for you anymore, you'll feel the weight lift off. You'll realize the strength you had all along to walk away, to let go, to set yourself free. Don't keep pretending that silence is a solution to the pain they caused. Silence isn't going to bring them back. It's not going to make them see what they've lost. It will only serve to keep you stuck in a cycle of hoping, waiting, and yearning for someone who doesn't even consider you a priority. So stop. Stop waiting for a response. Stop begging for attention. Stop trying to convince them that you're worth their time. You are worth so much more than that. Don't let your value depend on someone else's willingness to acknowledge you. You deserve to be surrounded by people who see your worth, who prioritize you, who treat you with the respect you give them. And remember, silence isn't your enemy, it's your opportunity. It's your moment to reclaim your power, to rediscover who you are outside of the toxic need for validation. Use it. Use silence as a shield, not a weapon, and protect yourself. Heal. Move forward. Don't let the past define you or hold you hostage. There's a world waiting for you, a world full of possibilities, and you won't find it by clinging to someone who's already chosen to leave you behind. So, let go of that rope. Step into your power. Let silence speak volumes for you, and when you do, you'll be free. You're fighting for something that they've already let go of. It might be hard to admit, but when you hold on, when you're clinging to that rope, you're fighting for something that isn't coming back, something they've already moved past. But imagine, just for a moment, what would happen if you released that rope? What if the tension disappeared? What if the pain stopped? That's exactly what happens when you let go. When you stop using silence as a tool to manipulate others and start using it to heal yourself. You deserve that peace. You deserve to take back your power. And you don't have to do it quietly. You don't have to shrink yourself down to make yourself small for others. Say it loud. Say it clear. I'm done. Drop it in the comments right now. Type those words. I'm done. Say it with conviction. Say it like you mean it. Because you do. You are done being small. You are done being someone else's afterthought. You're done being treated like you're disposable, like you're someone they can pick up and put down whenever it's convenient for them. You are done waiting for calls that never come. Done checking your phone like your existence depends on a notification. You are done hoping they'll suddenly realize your worth, when they couldn't even be bothered to care when you were giving them everything. You've bent, you've broken, you've tried, but not anymore. This isn't about playing games. It's not about making them miss you. This is about you reclaiming your power. You're done sacrificing your self-worth for crumbs of attention. You're done settling for love that's conditional and fleeting. You're done shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's limited version of what you should be. You are so much more than that. You are worthy of love that is constant, unconditional, and real. So go ahead, show me your brave side. Write it in the comments for all to see, for yourself to see. Let this be your declaration. Let it be a promise to yourself. I'm done. Feel that power rising inside of you, because that's the moment you've been waiting for. That's the moment you wake up, and you're never going back. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do something for yourself. Hit that like button and subscribe, not because we're asking, but because that power you're feeling inside owes you something. It owes you action, and that action starts with one simple task: hitting that button. Help spread this message to more people who need it. People who need this truth, just like you needed it. Be the reason someone else finds their strength today. Let's rise together. But here's the truth, and let me be real with you for a second. It's not going to be easy. This is where the real journey begins. You've taken the first step, but now comes the hard part. The doubts will creep in. The past will try to pull you back. The urge to break your silence will hit harder than ever. But stay with me. This is just the beginning. You're stepping into a new version of yourself. Stronger, wiser, untouchable. No more chasing, no more begging, no more waiting. We're just getting started. And together, we'll rise. But first, we need to talk about something that's been holding you back. Watering dead plants. What do I mean by that? It's simple. You've been pouring your energy, your time, your love into something that's long gone, something that isn't going to bloom again. And here's the truth. No amount of care, no matter how much love you give, can bring a withered relationship back to life. If the roots were rotten from the start, it's not going to grow. And you need to accept that. You've been standing in the same barren field, holding a watering can full of hope, thinking that if you try harder, love deeper, wait longer, they'll change. But they won't. They never intended to. You've been nurturing something incapable of growth, and it's time to stop. You're wasting precious energy on something that isn't meant to grow. You're wasting yourself. Imagine this, a flower in a cracked vase. It might look beautiful for a while, but no matter how much water you pour into it, the cracks will keep draining everything you give. That's what it's like when you keep investing in someone who doesn't care, someone who only takes but never gives. You keep pouring from your heart, hoping your love will be enough to fill the emptiness inside them. But you can't heal someone who refuses to grow. It's not your job to fix people. Stop playing the role of the savior in someone else's emotional chaos. You are not the guardian of someone's neglected soul. They should have tended to their own heart before expecting you to fix the mess they created. Stop chasing potential. You might have seen the best in them, the version of them you hoped for, but in reality, they've shown you exactly who they are, detached, careless, indifferent, and it's time to let go. As one wise soul once said, don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure. Let the hurt remind you that you've outgrown this season. You've outgrown people who make you question your worth, who make you feel like you're not enough. You are enough. You always have been. Stop watering dead plants, because you deserve to bloom in a garden that nurtures you, that values you, that gives you everything you deserve. And you're not going to find that by clinging to what's already withered. Let's rise together, energy, your heart, and still be left empty if the other person isn't equally invested. Love is a partnership, a shared responsibility. You can't carry it all by yourself. You shouldn't have to. If they're not showing up with the same commitment, the same intensity, the same care, it's time to reevaluate. It's easy to get caught up in the fantasy that if you just try harder, love harder, give more, it will change. But that's not how love works. Love isn't a transaction where you give everything and hope for something in return. It's not about doing everything you can to prove your worth. You are worthy without having to jump through hoops. If someone doesn't see that, it's not your problem, it's theirs. The truth is, people don't value things they take for granted. They don't appreciate things that are always there, always available. And when you make yourself endlessly available to someone who isn't reciprocating, you lose sight of your own value. You're not just losing their attention, you're losing your sense of self. You're pouring all your energy into something that's never going to nourish you. Think about this. How many times have you convinced yourself that you just weren't doing enough? How many times have you blamed yourself for their distance or lack of care? How many times have you thought that maybe, just maybe, if you loved them more, they'd love you back the way you wanted? But that's not how it works. Love doesn't work on your terms alone. It works when two people show up with intention, with respect, with care. You can't force someone to care. You can't chase someone to make them stay. You can't beg them to choose you. The only thing you can do is choose yourself. Choose your own growth, your own peace, your own joy. Don't spend another minute watering dead plants. You deserve a garden full of thriving flowers, not withered branches that drain you. Stop holding on to the past. Stop waiting for someone to come back and make things right. If they were meant to be there, they would have been there. If they wanted to be with you, they would have shown up. But when someone's intentions don't align with yours, when their actions don't reflect the love and care you've given, it's time to walk away. Let go of what isn't serving you. Let go of what isn't growing you. And don't ever let anyone make you feel like you're not worth the effort. Because you are. You are worthy of love that comes naturally, that flows without force. You are worthy of someone who chooses you every day, who shows up without hesitation, who makes you feel seen, valued, and important. You deserve someone who shows up not just when it's convenient, but all the time, in every season of life. And if they don't see that, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their inability to recognize the treasure they have in front of them. Stop chasing after people who make you feel like an option. Stop chasing after love that isn't being freely given. Let them go and make space for the love that is meant for you, because there is someone out there who will see you, who will appreciate you, and who will choose you, not because they have to, but because they want to. And that's the love you deserve. It will come when you stop looking for it in places that can't give it to you. When you stop holding on to things that are already dead, that's when you make room for something real, something alive, something that's meant for you. So don't settle. Don't be someone's temporary comfort. Don't be someone's backup plan. Be the one they regret losing, the one they wish they had treated better. But more than that, be the one who rises, who walks away without looking back, because you know your worth. You know you deserve better. Let today be the day you stop chasing love that isn't yours. Let today be the day you choose yourself, the day you begin watering your own garden. Your future is waiting for you, and it's full of growth, full of opportunity, full of the love and respect you deserve. It's time to step into that life, the life where you are nurtured, valued, and cherished. Because you are worthy of more. Don't ever forget that. Patience, your loyalty. But if the other person doesn't care, none of it will ever be enough. You could have been perfect, but perfect doesn't matter when the person you're giving yourself to is emotionally bankrupt. They're incapable of valuing something they don't even know how to appreciate. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You've been reacting by holding on, wondering when they'll miss you, staying emotionally trapped in a past they've already forgotten. But here's the truth. You have a choice. Stop reacting. Start reclaiming. Here's another truth. They'll only miss you when life hits them hard, when their next adventure doesn't go as planned, when they realize that fleeting connections can't replace genuine love, loyalty, and care. But by the time they come back around, looking for the warmth they once took for granted, you'll be long gone. Stop being there just in case. You're not someone's backup plan, their emotional safety net, or their fallback option. You are the prize, but they'll never see it if you keep hanging around, waiting for recognition. People only value what they lose, not what they assume will always be there. So disappear, not to make them miss you, but to make yourself free. You've been holding space in your heart for someone who doesn't even realize they left. You've been playing a game where only you're keeping score. It's time to stop waiting for them to feel your absence. They won't. And even if they do one day, so what? Their regret isn't your reward. Their missing you won't fix the past. It won't erase the nights you spent crying, the messages you sent that went unanswered, the love you gave that was never returned. So what's next? Let it burn. Burn the idea that your love was wasted. It wasn't. You learned. Burn the hope that they'll ever wake up and realize what they lost. You rise. Burn the fantasy that their absence is a wound that needs healing. You heal yourself. Stop throwing bottles into an empty sea. Stop expecting closure from someone who's already forgotten you. Stop imagining a reunion that will never happen. They don't miss you, but you will miss yourself if you keep living like this. Say it out loud. I deserve better. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a declaration. Let today be the day you stop wishing for their regret and start living your truth. Let's rise together. Let's break those lies you've been feeding yourself. Silence isn't about them. It never was. You've been told that going silent will make them miss you, regret losing you, or wake up to your worth. Lies. Society wrapped that fantasy in pretty words and sold it to you as a strategy. But here's the truth. Silence doesn't create a void in their life. It creates power in yours. Silence isn't a weapon. It's a rebuild. It's the wrecking ball that smashes every illusion you've clung to. It tears down the false hope, the desperate waiting, and the endless cycle of wishing they'd come back. Your silence isn't about making them notice your absence. It's about forcing yourself to face the truth that you were worth more than waiting around. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and your thoughts for too long have been painted with neediness, attachment, and false hope. Silence strips that away, leaving you with something terrifying yet powerful: yourself. At first, silence feels like death, doesn't it? Like you're disappearing from their world, but that's because you're still seeing silence as punishment, as if being forgotten by them means you're nothing. But here's the shift. Silence isn't about being erased. It's about being reborn. It's the space where you finally stop begging for answers that will never come and start answering yourself. Silence creates clarity. It forces you to confront the uncomfortable reality you've been running from, that your worth never depended on someone else recognizing it, that being loved by them wasn't the prize. You are the prize. They just never deserved it. Think about this. Have you ever seen what happens when the noise dies down after a storm? The sky clears, the air sharpens, and everything feels more alive. That's what silence does for you. It creates space for your true self to emerge. The clarity you gain from it will allow you to grow, to heal, and to move forward in ways you never imagined. Now is the time to stop waiting for someone else's validation and start becoming the person you were always meant to be. In that silence, you'll discover a power within yourself that you never knew existed. It's not about what they did or didn't do. It's about reclaiming the strength and worth that's been yours all along. That's what silence does for you. It clears the emotional clutter, sharpens your perspective, and brings you back to yourself. But only if you let it. You see, silence is not something to be feared or avoided. It's not a trap or some desperate ploy to make someone miss you. It's meant to be a mirror, an opportunity to look at yourself, to reflect on what you've tolerated, what you've accepted, and what you've lost in the process of chasing after someone who couldn't even bother to stay. It's time to face it, own it, and change it. Silence creates strength. It builds resilience. It develops discipline and emotional armor. Every day you choose silence, you reclaim a piece of yourself you thought you had lost. Every unanswered message, every moment you don't break, is a step back toward freedom. Every time you resist the urge to chase, to beg, or to settle for crumbs, you are growing stronger than the version of yourself who believed love meant running after someone who never truly valued you. You see, as Epicurus once said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and it's earned by letting go of things that lie beyond our control. They were always beyond your control, but you control how much space they take up in your heart. You control how much of your life you allow them to steal. Silence creates freedom, but only if you let it. Silence creates self-respect. It draws a clear line between who you were when you needed them and who you are becoming without them. Every time you choose silence, you are making a powerful statement to yourself. You are saying, I refuse to chase someone who doesn't value me. You're showing yourself that you are enough without their validation, their attention, and their approval. And guess what? Eventually, they will notice. Not because you played some clever game or tried to make them jealous, but because they'll see something they never expected, you, moving on without them. They will realize that the person they thought would always be there isn't waiting anymore. But by the time they notice, you won't care. because they'll be searching for the old version of you, the one who waited, who hoped, who broke. But that person doesn't exist anymore. Silence has already transformed you into someone new, someone stronger, someone untouchable. So, stop fearing silence. Stop seeing it as punishment. It's not punishment, it's transformation. It's the bridge from who you were with them to who you're meant to become without them. So don't break your silence. Break free. Declare it loud and clear. I choose myself. Say it out loud. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a declaration. Today, silence stops being your prison and becomes your power. Now, build an empire, not expectations. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, staring at the horizon, expecting a bridge to appear out of thin air. You believe if you wait long enough, if you hope hard enough, something will materialize to connect you to the other side. But that bridge never comes. That's what living with expectations is like. Waiting for something you can't control, gambling with your emotions, and ending up stranded in disappointment. Expectations break hearts. They lure you into a false sense of security, only to collapse when reality doesn't match the fantasy you built in your head. You expected them to care. You expected them to show up when you needed them. You expected them to recognize your worth and love you back the way you loved them. But here's the brutal truth. Expectations are premeditated resentment. The higher you build them, the harder you fall. And when they don't meet those expectations, it feels personal, like a direct attack on your value. But it's not. It's a reflection of who they are, not of what you deserve. So stop building expectations. Start building something that can't be taken away. An empire. An empire where you reign over your own life, where your happiness isn't held hostage by someone else's inconsistent behavior or lack of appreciation. Take the throne back. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The only thing you can truly control is yourself, your actions, your reactions, and the energy you choose to give. Expecting someone else to fix your broken pieces is like waiting for rain in a drought, futile and soul-crushing. Building an empire means becoming so rooted in your self-worth that even if someone leaves, even if life crumbles around you, you stand unshaken. You stop looking for validation from others because you've built an internal foundation that can't be shattered. You are the architect of your life. Start acting like it. Let's be real. You've wasted enough time waiting for closure, for apologies, for someone to change. But waiting is passive. Building is active. You don't wait for a throne. You build one, brick by brick. Your goals are the foundation. Your mindset is the fortress. Your resilience is the crown that no one can take from you. Think of the people you admired growing up. Did they get where they are by waiting for someone to save them? Number. They built their lives with grit and determination, not expectations. As the saying goes, hope is not a strategy. You can hope for love, for success, for happiness, but hope alone won't build anything. Action will. Stop expecting someone to see your potential. See it yourself. Stop expecting closure. Give it to yourself. Stop expecting them to regret losing you. Make them regret letting you go. There's power in creating a life so full, so rich with purpose, that even your past self wouldn't recognize you. You have the ability to build a future that your former self would have only dreamed of, and it all starts with setting unshakable goals. Define what success, love, and happiness look like for you, not based on society's expectations, but on what you truly know in your soul. When you do this, you start to create a life that's uniquely yours, with no compromises. Set standards that are non-negotiable. Your life, your happiness, and your peace are worth far more than tolerating situations or people who do not honor you or your journey. What you tolerate sets the tone for your entire existence, so raise the bar. Don't be afraid to set a standard so high that anyone who can't meet it gets left behind, and don't apologize for it. Your path is yours to shape, and if others can't walk beside you at the level you're at, it's not your problem. No exceptions. Invest in growth, not validation. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking approval from others, but the true work lies in learning, improving, and expanding your own mind and soul. You're not here to feed your need for approval from others. You're here to feed your mind with knowledge and your soul with purpose. The more you grow, the less you'll need anyone else's recognition. Keep going, because growth is the only thing that will truly set you free. Be ruthlessly consistent. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your empire be. It's consistency that leads to greatness. Show up for yourself every single day, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. Push through. The days you feel the most exhausted are often the days you're building the most important parts of your future. Stay consistent, no matter what. Guard your energy like it's a royal treasure. Not everyone deserves access to you, and not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Protect your peace fiercely, because your peace is everything. Protect it as if your life depends on it, because it does. Without peace, there can be no growth. Without peace, you're just surviving. You deserve to thrive. Rewrite your story. You're not a victim of your past. You're the hero of your future. Don't wait for anyone else to change the narrative for you. Take full ownership of the role you play in your own life. No more excuses. No more waiting for someone else to change the ending. It's in your hands. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Stop wanting others to act a certain way. Stop wishing for closure. Stop hoping someone will complete you. The truth is, you are already whole. You don't need anyone else to define your worth or fill the gaps in your life. The less you expect from others, the more power you gain over your own life. You've spent long enough building sandcastles in other people's worlds, only to watch the tide of their indifference wash them away. Now, it's time to build something permanent, something unshakable, untouchable. You are no longer just a visitor in the lives of others. You are the architect of your own world. When they see you again, they shouldn't recognize you. They shouldn't see the person who begged, who waited, who cried for love and attention. They should see someone entirely different. They should see a ruler, a conqueror of life, someone who is so far ahead of them they can't even reach you anymore. You've leveled up, and that's something they didn't see coming. Say it out loud right now. I build my empire. Write it down, claim it, live it, own it. Let that be the foundation of everything you do. This is your moment to rise, to level up, to become everything you've always dreamed of, and more. And when they notice you're gone, don't be fooled. It's not out of love. Don't mistake it for regret or sudden realization. They were never interested in you the way you hoped. They never loved you the way you deserved. So, when they finally notice that you've walked away, don't think it's because they miss you. It's because they miss the comfort you provided. They miss the ease of having someone around to validate them, to boost their ego, to always be there when they needed emotional support. But that's not love. That's selfishness. They miss what you did for them, not who you are. Think of it like losing a favorite jacket. They didn't care about it when it was thrown carelessly onto the floor, when it was left wrinkled and forgotten. But when the cold sets in and they have nothing else, suddenly they remember that jacket. Not because they loved it, but because they need it. And that, my friend, is not love. It's emptiness. Their life didn't get worse because you left it. It just got less convenient. You were their backup plan, their safety net. And now that you're gone, they don't feel the pain of losing you. They feel the panic of losing control. Epictetus said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgments about them." They are suffering because they assumed you'd always be there. You were predictable, reliable, and they thought they could always pick you up when they needed you. They lived comfortably, knowing you would always be there, like a book left unread on a dusty shelf. But now that the shelf is empty, they're confused. They didn't see this coming. Now they'll send casual messages, pretending like they care. They'll text, "Hey, I've been thinking about you." They'll throw out little fishing lines, hoping you're still hooked. But it's not love, it's control. They want to know they can still pull you back when they need you. If they truly cared, they wouldn't have let you break while they watched. They wouldn't have ignored your calls or dismissed your efforts. They wouldn't have made you feel like you were too much while you were trying your hardest. People who care don't gamble with your heart. So why now? Why do they notice you're gone when it's too late? It's because your silence has created something they can't stand: emptiness. They lost their comfort zone, their emotional safety net, the person who cared even when they didn't deserve it. But here's the twist: you're not coming back. Realization is often useless by the time they finally wake up. By then, you're already free. You've done the hard work. You've faced the silence. You've broken through the pain and emerged as someone they no longer recognize. You've transformed. And when they eventually notice that you're gone, don't be fooled. They're not coming back because they've changed. They haven't. They're coming back because you did. Because the old version of you, the one they could manipulate, guilt trip, and breadcrumb, is gone. As Rumi said, don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure. Your absence is their wake-up call. But their regret isn't your responsibility. Their emptiness isn't your problem. Their sudden realization means absolutely nothing when they notice that you're gone. Let them notice. Let them live with the void they created by treating you like you were replaceable. Let them wrestle with their regret while you thrive in the life you built without them. You're done waiting, done hoping, and done needing validation from someone who only cared when it was too late. So say it out loud: I'm never going back. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a promise. Because when they finally notice, you'll be long gone, having already moved forward into a new chapter of your life, one they will never have a place in. Now, enough with the waiting, enough with hoping they'll notice, miss you, or come crawling back. It's time to stop being the quiet breeze they ignored and start becoming the storm they can't escape. You're done being soft. You're done holding back. You're done shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's small world. It's time to become the storm, not for them, but for yourself. The best revenge isn't in making them miss you, it's in making your old self unrecognizable. Become the force they never saw coming. They thought you'd fade into the background, disappear into the shadows of their indifference. They thought you'd wait forever, but storms don't wait, they strike. As nature says, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. Every tear you cried, every sleepless night, every time you begged the universe for a different ending, those were your storm clouds gathering. You weren't breaking, you were building. Now it's time to unleash. Stop chasing, stop waiting, and stop explaining. Your silence wasn't just a pause, it was the calm before the storm. The world is full of people like them, users, takers, manipulators, but the world is also full of opportunity, power, and purpose. The question is, which side are you going to stand on? The side that crumbles or the side that rises? Be relentless. Build yourself into someone who doesn't need validation. Chase your goals with the same intensity you once chased their attention. Turn that desperation into determination. Take everything they thought they destroyed and rebuild yourself stronger. They expect you to stay broken. They expect you to stay quiet. They expect you to still be waiting by the phone. Prove them wrong. Not with words, not with some emotional text or social media post, but with your actions. Build a life so powerful, so untouchable, that even if they come back, they'll find no place in it. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Don't become bitter, become better. Your success, your growth, and your happiness, those are the thunderclaps they'll hear long after you've moved on. And remember, storms don't apologize for being fierce, for shaking things up, for demanding change. Neither should you. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be respected. You're here to thrive. They can't weather the storm you're becoming because they never thought you could be this strong, this resilient, this unstoppable. They underestimated you, and now it's too late. So rise, build and conquer. Be the storm that shatters expectations and reclaims your life. Say it out loud. I am the storm. Drop it in the comments, not as a hope, but as a statement of fact. You're done being overlooked. You are the storm they can't weather. Now, here you are. You've faced the truth. You've endured the silence. You've burned the bridges and shattered the chains that kept you trapped in the past. But let me be very real with you. This isn't the finish line. This isn't where the journey ends. This is where it begins. Breaking free is one thing, but staying free, moving forward, and building an unshakable life, that's the real challenge. Because it's easy to get comfortable in the space between what was and what could have been. But true freedom is about constantly evolving, never staying stagnant, and pushing yourself beyond the limits you once thought were set in stone. Keep your eyes on the horizon, keep building your life, and never settle for less than what you deserve. You're not just here to survive, you're here to thrive. Let your story be one of resilience, strength, and unshakable purpose. They may have tried to break you, but what they didn't realize was that every attempt only made you stronger. Now, go forward with that unshakable strength. Your best days are ahead of you, and the life you're building, without them, will be everything you've ever dreamed of. Let them watch from the sidelines as you rise, unbreakable, unstoppable, and ready for everything life has to offer. The storm you've become is here to stay, and nothing can stand in your way. It's easy to feel strong when you're fired up, when you're full of emotion, ready to take on the world. In those moments, you feel invincible. But let me remind you, strength is not about one single burst of defiance or an emotional high. It's about consistency, resilience, and action every single day. It's about the quiet moments where you choose yourself, even when it would be so much easier to fall back into the old patterns you've been trying to break. Strength is about holding the line, standing firm, and refusing to give up, even when it hurts. Let me tell you something that the world doesn't often want you to hear. Strength is not found in comfort. Comfort keeps you stuck. It whispers lies to you, telling you that maybe it wasn't so bad, or maybe they'll change, or maybe you should try again. Comfort tempts you with familiarity because it's afraid of what's on the other side. It's afraid of the unknown. But let me tell you, strength lives in that unknown. It's in that messy, uncertain, uncomfortable process of rebuilding yourself. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is the heart of strength, making the choice every day to become the person you want to be. So I ask you, who are you going to be? Are you going to be someone who collapses at the first sign of resistance? Someone who crawls back to the very thing that broke them? Or are you going to be someone who stands tall, pushes forward, and refuses to be shaken, no matter what life throws their way? You see, unshakable strength isn't something you're given. It's something you build. It's built in the moments when you choose growth over comfort, when you choose action over waiting, when you choose to fight for yourself even when no one else will. Every time you wake up and refuse to shrink back into the shadows of your past, you're building. Every time you say no to things that no longer serve you, you're building. Every small step toward your goals, no matter how insignificant it may seem at the time, is a step in the direction of who you're becoming. But here's the thing you need to understand. You can't move forward if you're still holding on to the past. You can't climb the mountain ahead of you if you're still carrying the baggage of yesterday. Drop the weight. Let go of the need for closure, for apologies, for explanations that will never come. These are dead weights that will only hold you back. Let it go, not for them, but for you. As Rumi said, try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you, and do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you're used to is better than the one to come? Let that sink in for a moment. You've been fighting against change, resisting the unknown, clinging to what's familiar. But what if better things are waiting for you on the other side of that fear? What if the life you've always wanted is only possible if you stop trying to piece together what's already broken? You don't need permission to move forward. You don't need anyone's approval to start again. The only person who needs to believe in your strength is you. And if you're thinking, but I'm not strong enough, I'm still broken, let me tell you this. Strength is not about never breaking. Strength is about refusing to stay broken. Every setback, every heartbreak, every failure didn't destroy you. They built you. They showed you what you're capable of surviving. They sharpened your edges, strengthened your resolve, and prepared you for what comes next. You are not a victim of your past. You are the product of your comeback. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Life will throw storms your way. People will disappoint you. Things will go wrong. But your mind, your choices, your response, that is where your true power lies. So move forward like you own the ground you walk on. Not because you're entitled, but because you've earned it. You've survived what others couldn't. You've endured what should have broken you. You've become someone unstoppable. And listen, there will be hard days. There will be days when the past creeps back in, when doubt whispers in your ear, and when the urge to return to what's familiar feels overwhelming. But that's the test. That's the moment when your strength is built. Not when things are easy, but when you choose to push through the pain. Remember this, every day you choose yourself. Every time you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you're proving that you are stronger than your circumstances. You're unstoppable. So stop living like you're waiting for something to happen. Make it happen. Stop waiting for permission to be great. You already are. Stop asking for the life you want and start creating it. Say it out loud. I am unstoppable. Drop it in the comments, not as a wish, but as a promise to yourself. Because moving forward isn't just a possibility, it's your destiny. So this is it. This is the moment where talk ends and action begins. You've faced the truth. You've burned the past. You've reclaimed your power. Now it's time to rise. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more living for someone else's recognition. You are the storm. You are the force they can't break. And when life throws its worst at you, you'll be ready. The world owes you nothing, but you owe yourself everything. Every step forward, every goal crushed, every standard raised. It's your responsibility now. No one's coming to save you. But the good news is, you don't need them. You've already survived what was meant to destroy you, and now you're unstoppable. So say it out loud. I'm done waiting. I choose me. Drop it in the comments and own your power. And if this message hit you where it hurts, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs it. Be the reason they rise too. The past is done. The future is yours. Let's rise together. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video and want to keep receiving content that challenges, motivates, and helps you grow, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. By subscribing, you're not just joining a channel, you're becoming part of a community that strives to be better every day, just like you. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you know someone who could benefit from this message, share it with them too. Let's spread the positivity, wisdom, and motivation. Your support means the world, and it helps this channel continue to grow. So, thank you again for being here, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, keep striving for your best self.